Welcome back to Diaries of a Christian Entrepreneur. My name is Shireen, and today we are going to spend a short amount of time talking about idols, not in the way that you think. I want to take a different approach, perspective with it. So I feel like Exodus 23 and 4, if you start off there, you must not have any gods before me. And I think when we hear these verses, we immediately go to the most negative or bad thing, or some like drugs or porn or just negative things that we think about come straight into our minds, right? But it says anything. We must not put anything before him. So the definition of idol is anything used as an object of worship. And worship means an expression of adoration or reverence, right? We only do that with God, supposed to be, because we are supposed to spend that time, right? We are supposed to have that adoration for him. So if there is anything that you are spending an unreasonable amount of time on, yes, that is considered an idol, right? Idols are not necessarily always a bad thing, right? But they do become bad. What makes them an idol, they do become bad when we spend all of our time with it, right? And put them before Christ. And this is why I want to talk about this, because it can literally be anything. Anything that you are obsessing over or is taking a hold on your mind and you spend all of your time, that is a problem. Like me, social media, that has been an issue before. As soon as you wake up, you go to your phone and check social media and it's taking up all of your time. That can be an idol, yes. And I know a lot of people want to say, it's not that bad. It can be that bad, right? If you are consumed with your looks and cannot go outside without having a full face on, or you need to stop at the mirror every time you pass one, right? If you are constantly on your ex's page, just looking, checking up and looking on it all the time, right? If you are binging junk food and just to eat it, right, all the time, right? If you're shopping is a good one. If you are constantly shopping when you feel down, right? Yeah, right. If you are constantly have this the thought of getting married and that's always present on your mind, all of these things, any of these things can be considered an idol. So it is important to check. I recently just did a fast where I was definitely revealed the things that I need and have placed as an idol in my life, like social media, right? Because that is a problem. And what happens is it is deterring us from the things that we are supposed to be doing. It is deterring us from the time that is supposed to be allocated to God, right? I notice that I was saying, I feel like I'm not hearing as much from God anymore. Like, I decided to do a fast. And what happened during that fast is, well, you put all of your time in other things. So how can you hear from me if we don't ever talk? And that's absolutely true, right? If I am spending all my time on social media or consumed with thoughts that I shouldn't have, or all of these things, anything, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. That is a problem. Verse number 5 is Exodus 20. Verse number 5 does say, the Lord is a jealous God who will not tolerate affection from any other God. So any other thing, any other person, any other thing, right? He doesn't, no, right? He gets jealous with. Verse 4, you must not make yourself an idol. Let's take a look at this real quick. You must not make yourself an idol on in other people's lives. Now, I take this to mean something else, right? Multiple things, because again, it could be reiterating what it has. Verse number 3 can be reiterating, you must not have any other gods before me, but also you must not make yourself, you must not make yourself an any other idols, but you must not be an idol in anyone else's lives, right? Take a check on your relationships. Have you ever, or are you placing yourself higher than anything else, anybody else in this person's life? Are you making yourself an idol onto this person? I'm not saying that person doesn't have a responsibility to check you, but also you can check yourself in that, are you setting yourself higher? There are people who have partners and do not want their partner to spend time with anybody else except them. That is a problem, right? You don't want your man to go see his friends. You don't want him to go to his mom's house. You don't want him to do anything with anybody except lay up with you. That is a problem. That is an issue. You did not create this, him or her. You did not create this person for you to want to hold yourself as an idol, as God, is a problem. For you to wallow in jealousy because you don't want him to be, or her to be, around anybody else is definitely a problem. Sometimes I don't think we notice that, and we should be checking ourselves. This happens in friendships. There are people who have friends that have a problem if they don't spend every minute of their free time with that friend. That's a problem. I personally only see my friends like once a month. That's just me. That doesn't have to be the case for everyone. I'm just saying, right? It is a problem. And most of the time, this stems from something deeper, some type of trauma that person has had, that has resulted in this way, right? But it is important to take a self check. If that is you, there has to be some prayer going on. There may has to be some therapy that is needed, but that is definitely a problem. If you feel like you have to be a God in this person's life, right? You are making yourself an idol in that person's life. That's definitely an issue, right? So the question is here, what have you made an idol in your life? And again, I find that it's something, right? It's something with me. Nobody's perfect. I feel like I said, I had to do a fast to actually come to terms with the things that were making idol in my life. So, what are some of the things that you have made idol in your life? It can be anything, not a bad thing, not necessarily a bad thing. It can literally be anything that you have consumed your time with, that you only spend time with. You only spend time with a person. You've forgotten about God. You have no longer do your praying, you don't have your devotion, you don't do any of those things. You are consumed with this person, you are consumed with clubbing, you are consumed with social media, you are consumed with things, with jewelry, with anything, right? That is a problem. So what are some of the idols that you are realizing in your life? Be honest with yourself. And are you trying to be a graven image in someone else's life? Because I don't think we talk about that, right? It could be either of those things. Let's take a self check. We want to grow. Let's take a self check and try to think about, what are these idols, or am I an idol in someone else's life? And then we have to, of course, lay that at the feet of Jesus. We have to, of course, come back and pray and ask God to give us understanding and help us with with making a commitment of putting these things aside and getting back to spending more time. Obviously, again, since idols are not a bad thing, you are going to spend some time there. That is not, there's nothing wrong with that, depending on what it is. There is nothing wrong with that. But if you are spending every minute of every day on something, there is a problem, right? Or in a reasonable amount of time, there is a problem, and there are ways asking God to help you deal with that, or to figure out what I can do to help me with this. I put a limit on my phone of the amount of time I can spend on social media. That's just an example of ways that we can start thinking about how we can course correct, right? So what is it for you, and how can we, in addition to praying and asking God, what else can we do to help us with these idols that has taken the place of our time with God? Okay, thoughts?